Welcome to the Wednesday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Wednesday morning. How's it going, Astro? How's it going, Darknet? Howdy, everybody. Today we do have quite the amount of stuff to go as usual. We've got plenty to finish here. In fact, let me get myself situated here. Perfect. In fact, let's get started, yeah? It is just winter. What? No such thing here. Celtic Taboo, morning. Willy Bonga, how's it going? Alright, cool. Today is December 1st. It is the first day on the war on Christmas. Are you pro-war on Christmas or anti? Oh no, I'm pro-war on Christmas. Alright, don't let this Yule tree or Christmas tree or holiday tree fool you. I am completely on board with waging nothing but ultimate war on Christmas, okay? This is just a decoy. Today is indeed December 1st, marks the first day on the war on Christmas. So, we're ready to batter down. I'm telling Santa. Oh no. Don't tell Santa, alright? That's a Saturnalia tree. Exactly. No, I'm strictly only waging war on Christmas. That's it. I already beat the virus. I won that battle. I won that war. I need one of those. Should I add Christmas as a banned word? No. I need to ambush all these pro-Christmas stuff. I need to ambush them as they come in. How else am I gonna win the war on Christmas? What is wrong with Christmas? More divorces than any other time of the year. Interesting. I don't know if that's true or not, but that would be an interesting fact. I need that hat. Veteran of the war on Christmas. That's funny. Either way, I'm ready. Alright, folks, we do have quite the amount of content to go through, so hopefully we'll be able to get through it. No, there's nothing... Okay, so just to be clear, there's... I am clearly memeing. I actually just like the holiday... I like the holiday season just because of the amount of paid time off that we get for the Christmas and New Year's. It kind of gives an opportunity to at least feel a reprieve, usually during this season, during the November-December era. It is a lot less saturated at work, at least for me anyways. So yeah, I tend to like the holiday season because there's less work, you get paid time off, and it generally just has like a more chiller vibe to it towards the end. So you know what? I'm on board for the holiday season. Yeah, Christmas is the OG capitalist holiday, true. Chris Cuomo has been suspended indefinitely pending an investigation. I like Christmas music, it makes me feel nice. Yeah, it gives you that like chill vibe, you know what I mean? So yeah, that's what I'm about. I like the pretty lights, the love and care and happy music. Yeah, like the chill vibes, exactly, Astro and Darknet. It's that vibe that I'm about. I think as we progress on our war on Christmas, I'll be putting like holiday music in the background too. As we fight in the trenches, I'll be putting more holiday themed stuff. The only thing though, they play Christmas music starting like early November here. Yeah, that's a thing. Everyone's always pushing for shit to get done before they leave for the holiday vacation, so it's normally pretty stressful at my work at this time. Yeah, it depends, Kalo. So normally pretty stressful, even though the deadlines don't change, people just seem to push harder for stuff. Yeah, because they have like this weird preconception that they want to make sure they squeeze workers right before they leave for vacation, when in reality it's like, folks, it is literally a 2-day vacation, okay? The 24th, the 25th, and then we come back. Relax. and it depends on the work too. Like, for example, when what I do is like what could be considered like customer service. My dude, brochacho, fam, your claim is not going to change in the next 2 days. I promise. We don't work weekends anyways. I promise you're going to be okay. Yeah, like I had a Christmas sweater in November, and my co-host was like, "Are you wearing a Christmas sweater?" My Pokemon Christmas sweater. I've got 2 Christmas sweaters. Well, yeah, I've got 2 Christmas sweaters. Send it to me via Whispers, Astro. I've got a Pokemon Christmas sweater, and I've got a Star Wars Christmas sweater. Those are my 2 things. Unfortunately, here in Florida, it is such a rare time that we can actually use them because Florida. I don't know how else to say it. Florida. I mean, right now we are at 70 something. About 75. about 75. The coldest it's gonna get, the low, would be about 63 Fahrenheit. That's just not hot. That's just not hot. Basically. So the only thing that I can wear is, I mean, this kind of jacket is very thin. I was wearing a thin jacket yesterday too. The thinnest of thinnest jackets. $34 degrees here. Oof. Oh, that's cool. Green chat. What, you've got a green chat? What does that mean? Howdy, Thandara. I like that it doesn't sound like normal Christmas music, even though it very much is. Oh yeah, absolutely. Everyone's names are green. What? Astros isn't green. Heart played with metal distortion pedals sounds awesome. Oh yeah, that's right. You all got different versions of green going on here, except for Astro. Wait, nope, Darknet is pink. What are we listening to? Joy to the world. It is December 1st. I don't want to be green. No, you're, well, on my view, you're red, Pat Rat. We're listening to Joy to the World cover song. It is indeed December 1st. It is the first day on the War on Christmas. Join us, green and red. After all, it is that time of year. That's right. Everybody in chat should have a green or red name. That is very true. I live the war all year long. I go between green and purple for my name. Well, for the holiday season, we should all have green or red. I put up a Halloween tree and it's staying up. True. Nice. Nativity season, that's also a thing for those that celebrate that. Red it is. I want to be purple. Howdy, howdy, Alio. Come on, chat, it's the holiday season, alright? There is no war on Christmas. There is a war on Christmas. It's happening right now. Today's the first day. Today's the first day. Okay? So dig in. What type of pro or anti are we talking? Grinch level or just anti-holiday sales scam or anti-religious holiday? It just depends on your interpretation, I guess. Let's go. Fox News declared the war, and we have no choice but to choose a side. True. That's right. We've got no choice, folks. We've got no choice. The votes are even. Oh man, I would say I would break the tie, but I voted too. It's pretty even in chat, I guess. What instrument was that? Good question. Doesn't say on the hammer dulcimer. So I guess it's like a harp, piano, string instrument? I don't know. It's very interesting anyways. Harp, piano, xylophone? Like all of these things combined. The hammer dulcimer. Dulcimer. Dulcimer? Is that like a, Latin term? Dulcimer. Gotcha. I don't do what OAN, Newsmax, and Fox News says, not fair or balanced. Yeah, there's no fair or balanced here. There's only you only pick a side. For some reason, steel guitar kept popping in my head. The steel guitar is a little different, is it not? It has a resonator sound. Yeah, the steel guitar is a little different. No, not Steel Series. Oh, I see. Yeah, this is what oh no, resonator is different. Okay, so I'm thinking of a different thing. So, I actually like the sound of these resonators. The steel guitar is like this on the bottom here, right next to me. The steel guitar is electronic, the dulcimer is just acoustic. Gotcha. Interesting. Yeah, I couldn't play this if you, I couldn't play this if I wanted to. We have achieved a festive colored chat. Yay! That's what I like to see. That's what I like to see, chat. It's time to get into that chill vibe spirit of the holiday season, folks. Alright, folks. We do have quite the amount of stuff to get through, so let's see here what we can get through. CNN suspends Chris Cuomo indefinitely, which is pretty funny. Heck yeah. That's what I'm talking about, Kyle. CNN is suspending primetime anchor Chris Cuomo indefinitely pending further evaluation after new documents revealed the cozy and improper nature of his relationship with aides to his relationship with aides to his brother, former and New York Governor Andrew Cuomo. The benched anchorman is declining to comment. Probably a good, probably a good idea. The second hour of Anderson Cooper will air in Cuomo's place on Tuesday night. Tuesday's announcement about the suspension was the equivalent of a cable news shockwave. Cuomo's 9 p.m. program is frequently CNN's most watched hour of the day. He is a larger-than-life presence at the network, and he was determined to stay on TV this year despite a flurry of sexual misconduct allegations against his brother, which culminated into the governor's resignation 3 months ago. I know technically it's alleged. It's always alleged, right? But the evidence for Andrew Cuomo's allegations are incredibly damning, to say the least. And there are more evidence coming that Chris Cuomo may have played a part in his defense, which is, like this says, pretty improper, not okay, not okay. The aides, why would he do this? I don't know. Money, power, the belief that you are above consequences, I guess, would be the term. You can also type /color red. Yeah, there you go. Doesn't have to be now, but hey, it looks good to me. We're getting to that Christmas vibe. But new documents revealed on Monday showed that the veteran journalist was more intimately involved than previously known in shaping his brother's defense. And there comes the problems with that, right? The New York Attorney General's office released transcripts that exhibits on Monday that shed new light on Chris Cuomo's involvement in his brother's defense. A CNN spokesperson said Tuesday evening, the documents, which we were not privy to before their public release, raise serious questions. When Chris admitted to us that he had offered advice to his brother's staff, he broke our rules, and we acknowledge that publicly, but we also appreciate the unique position he was in and understood his need to put family first and job second. What? Really? That's what we're doing? I didn't see much of it. From what I seen, it looked like Chris was trying to investigate who was making the accusations. Yeah, but passing along a lot of information and giving advice is not seen as proper, especially when you're you're supposed to be neutral when it comes to journalism. If you can't be neutral, then you would remove yourself from the situation. Clearly, he did not. However, these documents point to a greater level of involvement in his brother's efforts than we previously knew. As a result, we have suspended Chris indefinitely pending further evaluation. The suspension came after significant criticism from people who noted that Chris Cuomo had violated widely accepted journalistic norms. Inside CNN, staffers expressed dismay about the anchor's conduct. Charlotte Bennett, a former aide to Andrew Cuomo who came forward in February to accuse him of sexual harassment, called CNN to immediately take action. Anything short of firing Chris Cuomo reflects a network lacking both morals and a backbone, Bennett said in a tweet on Tuesday. It really comes down, like, the problem here really comes down to journalistic integrity. Right? That's basically what it comes down to. Journalistic integrity. And if you can't remove yourself from the situation, then don't call yourself a journalist or separate that, okay? But he couldn't. The Cuomo Primetime team had been planning for Tuesday's broadcast up until the announcement of Chris Cuomo's suspension, a person familiar with the matter said. Cooper's team was also blindsided by this news and left scrambling to fill the extra hour. I would say give me that extra hour. Except, I don't know if I would be accepted in CNN, right? After the news was made public, an emotional Chris Cuomo met with the show's staff. In documents released by New York Attorney General Letitia James, including text messages and transcripts of interviews with investigators who led to the probe into allegations against the governor. The cache of documents, including text messages between Chris Cuomo and Melissa DeRosa, a then top aide to Governor Andrew Cuomo, that suggested he was instrumental in working to craft a defense against a flood of sexual misconduct allegations. Instrumental, not casual, not like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna give you advice as a family member, as a brother. No. Instrumental. That is that word right there is doing a big part here in working to craft a defense against a flood of sexual misconduct allegations. The text messages also revealed that Chris Cuomo sought to use his connections in the press to help prepare the then governor's team as accusers started to make their stories public. Yikes. So it's not, again, it's not just like, it's not just the fact that there's involvement between like obvious conflict of interest. It's not like a casual like, oh look, as your brother you probably maybe should look into doing this. Nope. Not only were you instrumental in crafting a defense, but you used your connections as a quote journalist to help prepare your brother as accusations started to become public. And that's deeply troubling. I think that this needs to be met with the proper consequences to make sure that you stand with journalistic integrity and that this type of behavior is not okay. Chris Cuomo also acknowledged to investigators that he did attempt to learn more about a story by journalist Ronan Farrow. The anchor defended the practice as conventional. The idea of one reporter calling another to find out about what's coming down the pipe is completely business as usual. Yeah, maybe, but not when it comes to first of all, your own brother. And second of all, it's not just that you wanted to know what's coming down the pipeline. You wanted to forward this information in an attempt to craft a defense of Andrew Cuomo as allegations came forward. It's not that you just wanted to know these things. Yeah, if you can't be neutral, you're no better than Fox News. True. These Cuomo brothers. Yeah. Yeah. When Andrew Cuomo resigned as governor in August, Chris Cuomo told CNN viewers that he was not an advisor, but a brother. He acknowledged that he talked with his brother's aides and gave his take until CNN told him to stop doing so. In May. Right, so again, it's not like he casually said, oh, maybe you should do this or seek legal help, or, hey, I know a lawyer, or something like that, like a casual thing that you would say as a brother. Nope, you were instrumental and used your connections to forward that to your brother. That's just not okay. That's just not okay. Silver Night Dragon, how's it going? Cable news is a dying breed anyway. The only reason these channels exist at this point, Fox News included, is the subscription fees. Quite possibly, yeah. But nonetheless, like, it still kind of is important to bring up the failure sometimes and criticism of journalism. I mean, if you're going to be a journalist, if you're going to be on a news network doing journalism, there are ethics that you have to follow. And this is not okay. And every time it happens, it should be called out. This is not okay. Can I ask you to do a Christmas song at the beginning of the stream each day until Christmas? That's a possibility. I'm not opposed to that. Chris is the Rudy Giuliani of the two. True. The Michael Cohen or Giuliani? Okay, so we got Joy to the World. And we got this Christmas song here. Traditional Christmas music, 5-chord zither. Okay, so maybe we can save this one for tomorrow's intro as we progress. Let's see here. I like the music. I like the live aspect of this. I'm gonna save this one for tomorrow. Is this live? It might be. It might be. Or maybe I'm just so far ahead that I'm actually pre-programming this and pre-programming my responses, knowing that these are the comments that I would get. So whatever you're watching is actually already pre-recorded. But I have foresight to see each individual comments before they happen. Yeah, that's it. Correct. It's all a simulation. In fact, how do you know that this is a real live stream? I could just be an AI doing predictive responses, right? Silver Knight Dragon with the redemption of making me dab. Got you. Aren't we all? Yeah. Oh, by the way, I think I owe somebody a cute animal video. Alio, I owe you a cute animal video, so we're gonna take care of that after this article. That's how you know it's live. True. True. The Cuomo Primetime anchor also said on air in August, I had never attacked or encouraged anyone to attack any woman who came forward. I never made these calls to the press about my brother's situation. Monday's revelations cast some doubt on his statement about interactions with the press. Right, so he lied. When asked, I would reach out to sources, other journalists, to see if they heard of anybody else coming out. Why would you, the only reason he would be asking for this is to forward that information to his brother. I would find it very hard to believe that he just wanted this information just as an investigative journalist who's completely neutral or removed from the situation. It's very hard to imagine that he just wanted that information. Chris Cuomo also said under oath that what he told CNN viewers earlier this year, that he never influenced or attempted to control CNN's coverage of my family. Well, he may never have influenced or attempted to control CNN's coverage of his family, but it still stands that he was using his journalistic connections and the fact that he was Andrew Cuomo's brother to formulate his defense. That statement may be true. Maybe he actually never influenced CNN's coverage, but he absolutely violated what I would consider journalistic ethics, right? Nah, y'all planned that out ahead of time. True. True. The robots are coming for us. I am. Did he intimidate the victims? I have no idea. During the questioning, he reiterated that sentiment, saying, "If I had tried to influence any other reporting at CNN or anywhere else, I guarantee you people would know, and so would a lot of others." Again, I don't know if he actually attempted to influence any reporting, right? That's not the issue. And the issue is, why are you using, or I would say abusing, your contacts as a journalist, and then forwarding, or presumably, allegedly, using those contacts to formulate the defense for your brother, right? I don't know. Not journalistic connections, network connections. Cuomo is not a journalist. He's an opinion host and commentator. Right, but he kind of is. Not on his primetime show, but certainly he has connections, right? Maybe I misspoke. In its May statement, CNN had said Chris has not been involved in CNN's extensive coverage of the allegations against Governor Cuomo on air or behind the scenes. The network statement added, in part because he has said on his show he could never be objective. but also because he often serves as a sounding board for his brother. However, it was inappropriate to engage in conversations that included members of the governor's staff, which Chris acknowledges. He will not participate in such conversations going forward. The anchor at the time also took to his show to say that he is family first and job second, and apologized for how he helped his brother. It will not happen again. It was a mistake because I put my colleagues here, who I believe are the best in the business, in a bad spot. I never intended for that. I would never intend for that, and I am sorry for that. Okay, but you did the thing, though. But you did the thing. But you still did the thing. While a report on the sexual misconduct allegations against Governor Cuomo released in August, James' office continues with a separate investigation into allegations he misused state resources for development, production, and promotion of a book he wrote on the pandemic. Yikes. Rich Azzopardi, a spokesperson for Andrew Cuomo, called the latest release of transcripts, documents, and videos a manipulated release. Okie dokie. New Yorkers are no one's fool, and James and her colleagues' obvious misuse of government resources to damage political opponents. Wait, how are they political opponents? Wait, aren't they on the same party? How are they political opponents? That's kind of weird. Or maybe I'm wrong. He definitely covered the story for some time, and he blew a lot of hot air of his arse for his COVID response. True. I posted, hey, thinking Sabercat, I posted and whispered the most toxic masculinity thing I've seen in a while is Kanye West is now claiming God powers. Kanye West is not okay. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that Kanye West should probably seek help. And I mean that in a very serious manner. I give it a year before Cuomo is on Fox News after Joe Rogan has him on his bro podcast. True. Joe Brogan. I cased the joint, but I didn't break in, right? Yeah, so it's okay. Dr. Dragon Rider. Good morning. I'm listening in even if it's while I'm making breakfast. Nice. Enjoy. If you're more left than them, you're an opponent. Gotcha. Jesus, yeah. New Yorkers are no one's fool, and her colleagues are obvious misuse of government resources to damage political opponents is as obvious and repugnant as it is unethical and illegal. Okay, well, I mean, prove it then, right? Prove it. Nice meme. So Chris Cuomo suspended indefinitely pending more investigation at CNN, which I think is the bare minimum, because if you have people violating people's trust like this, then they shouldn't be on the news, right? They shouldn't be on the network, I should say.
Hi, I'm Nicole.
He think he's slick. I know why you trying to get back with Kim Kardashian, nigga. You can't get nothing past me.
Yeah, I don't know if I could air this.
Hey, I'm gonna be honest with you, nigga.
Yeah, nah, I'm good. This is TMZ level. We can just go to the tweet, right? If we really wanted to go to the source, we can just go to the tweet, right? Abort. Yep. We might even get a Cuomo Bro podcast. That's right. Oh my god, I would not be surprised if after all of this we get a Cuomo Bro podcast. Yeah, we're gonna hard pass that one. We're gonna press capital X on that one. We can just go to the actual tweet, right? It should be... Wait, but... There's no tweet since November of 2020. Huh. This person honestly, this person honestly should just need to, you know, get the help that he needs. And again, I mean that very seriously. Get the help that he needs, and get better, right? You don't want TOS, true. True. Is Dr. Oz anti-vax? I have no idea. We're about to find out. This is just breaking news. He said some super crazy stuff of late too, of how Trump is making him his VP when he is reinstalled. What? Yeah, this is like, I if that's what he was claiming, this is no different than like QAnon, right? Like, what is the difference between the QAnon conspiracy, than thinking that you are going to need, that you're going to be vice president when President Trump is reinstalled? I don't know what that means, but it is definitely borderline, the same. I couldn't tell you the difference between that statement and the QAnon conspiracy. Pillow brains. Wizard of Oz. No, this is not the Wizard of Oz. This is Dr. Oz. I mean, the video was on YouTube. So, and I know YouTube is definitely harsher with TOS, but I'm not gonna, I'm gonna skip that one. TV's Dr. Oz enters Pennsylvania's crucial Senate race on the GOP side. A celebrity, Dr. Oz, a celebrity heart surgeon who has also promoted questionable health advice to national television audiences, has entered the closely watched PA Senate race. Oz, a longtime resident of New Jersey, is running as a Republican in a bid to represent the Keystone State, and the open contest will play a large role in which party controls the Senate in the next political term. We're angry at our government and at each other, said Dr. Oz in a statement Tuesday in the right-leaning Washington Examiner announcing his candidacy. Yes. National Enquirer. Sorry, the Washington Examiner. Truly. Well, his Jesus stuff, people thought he was an artistic expression, but he actually has kind of gone, Jim Jones. Yeah, like I think, and I'm being like completely serious. I think he really does need to speak with a mental health professional, right? I couldn't tell you. I'm not gonna pretend I could even think. I could even pretend to acknowledge or diagnose him, I guess I should say. But what I can say is, based on his own statements, his own cries for help, his own admission that he has needed mental health professionals in the past, I suspect that he probably should speak to somebody. We have not managed our crises as effective as past generations. What does that even mean? What does that even mean? During the pandemic, I learned that when you mix politics and medicine, you get politics instead of solutions. Oh, okay, but who is doing that, right? Like, who is doing that? Who is doing that? That's why I'm running for US Senate, to help fix the problems and to help us heal. Nah. No thank you. Listen, we've already had enough celebrities what is it? Not prime time. Reality TV stars for elected office. I'm good. I'm gonna press X on that one. A pandemic influenza of 1919 killed millions. He's basically talking BS. Yeah, like I'm not surprised. The Pennsylvania race will likely be among the most consequential in the coming election, and Oz brings with him a medical background at a time where American public is grappling simultaneously with a deadly pandemic and a devastating misinformation crisis that threatens public health and nation's democracy. That is true. But again, who is doing this? In announcing the bid for his bid for Senate, Oz boasted his background of both child of immigrants and a medical professional. Over 750,000 in the US have died from the virus, a devastating toll for families and communities. True. Many of those deaths were preventable. Also true. COVID became an excuse for government and elite thinkers who controlled the means of communication to suspend debate. Wait, suspend debate? About what? Dissenting opinions from leading scholars were ridiculed and cancelled, so their ideas could not be disseminated. Interesting. These are two separate things, first of all. Being ridiculed and being, quote, cancelled are two different things, and, yeah. Instead, the government mandated policies that caused unnecessary suffering. These are all speaking in vague generalities. Like, I don't get what he means here. The public was patronized and misled instead of empowered. Well, to be quite fair, the government, the federal government, has dropped the ball in multiple occasions since the beginning of the pandemic. That is true. Oz promoted hydroxy. Oh, no. Oz has promoted hydroxychloroquine as a COVID treatment. The FDA has cautioned against the personal use of the drug for COVID. Oz has been previously criticized for other health recommendations and has testified at a Senate hearing on deceptive advertising for diet supplements. His entrance into the GOP Senate contest follows Sean Parnell's suspension of last week of his candidacy. Parnell has had the endorsement of former President Trump. The only thing missing here is if he... Maybe. The only icing on the cake is if he started talking about ivermectin. Actually, Dr. Oz is a real doctor, as most TV doctors like Dr. Phil are chiropractors, which isn't even a medical field. Yeah, no, I don't dispute the fact that he might actually have been at one point a heart doctor, right? But that's literally nothing to do with infectious diseases or epidemiology, virology, nothing to do with any of that. Yeah, alternative facts, if you will. Screw Joe Manchin, true. Isn't this very thinly coded anti-vax, anti-mask talking points without saying it? Maybe. Maybe this is a case of, I'm just asking questions, bro. I'm just asking questions. But certainly, it is incredibly vague. And like you said, there might be a reason for that. Like, for example, what policies caused unnecessary suffering? What does that even mean? What does unnecessary suffering mean? Looks at Ben Carson, doctors can be idiots. Well, they're people, right? They're human beings, right? They are human beings. So what you want to look at is where the consensus and plurality of the data is pointing to, right? You just don't accept one person's view, or you don't accept one person's study. There has to be some type of plurality of data to point to X, Y, or Z, right? In other words, whatever you're saying, whatever you're claiming, whatever your study claims, must be able to be confirmed peer-reviewed and replicated, right? That's how it works. I need to vote against Oz, true. Yeah, Ben Carson was a neurologist, was he not? Being educated and being wise are two vastly different concepts. America prefers educated people who are not wise. Well, it depends. If it fits your narrative, then yeah, it works, doesn't it, Silver Knight Dragon? If it fits your worldview or, you know, the whole confirmation bias, if it fits your confirmation bias, then yeah, it's good for you. But yeah, no, Dr. Oz is not a epidemiologist or anything of the sort, so I wouldn't necessarily go for him for, like, advice on pandemics or whatnot. Okay. Marianne Williamson for 2024. Well, she's certainly a little bit more based than Dr. Oz, I would say.
We must seize the means of production.
Stop it.
Whoa! Okay, hold on. I'm sorry, I need to show this ad. I'm sorry.
If you want to regulate something, go regulate the mess in your room. It seems a big part about being a mom these days is helping your kids unlearn the crazy ideas they're exposed to in the world.
Mom, I just found out that if I run into the TV fast enough, I'll become a cartoon.
Peppa the Pig? Peppa the Pig, known communist.
Nope, that will kill you. And it's not just normal kid stuff either. Now, my kids are being told by the media and even the school system.
But this is a real ad, by the way. This is not a parody. I'm not even kidding. This is not a parody.
That socialism is great.
Mama, if we just get rid of all these successful people, we'll finally be happy.
No, honey, that just means we'll all be poor. I want to teach my kids right, but it is so hard to find age-appropriate material to teach them about the principles of freedom. The blocks are the supply, and when people want them, that's demand.
Is that what Dad meant when he said you're too demanding?
Luckily, I now have the Tuttle Twins to help us. The Tuttle Twins is a series of books written for freedom-loving parents.
Freedom-loving
parents. They teach
parents.
correct principles about free markets in clear and relatable stories.
Wait. So, let me get this right. You're angry about the indoctrination of children. So your solution is to indoctrinate children. Nice meme. Interesting that Republicans seem heavy on the doctors. Every doctor in the Senate is a Republican, and overwhelming doctors in the House are also. Yeah, I mean, like, that doesn't mean anything, though. You could just be looking at an issue of class, maybe. Obviously, doctors are, generally speaking, I would say a good portion of doctors are very wealthy, and that kind of correlates with voting Republican. Who says American politics is understood by Americans? True, good question, good point. Right, communist Peppa the Pig. Is it Peppa or Pepper the Pig? Yeah, exactly, Silver Knight Dragon. I prefer the indoctrination that gives me good fifis. Correct. Skiddadeer, how's it going?
You know, clear and relatable, so opposite of socialists. With Overturn.
What? Clear and relatable. The opposite of socialist. That's very, very interesting. So, is there like something unclear about understanding the concepts of like, for example, income inequality, or the concept of maybe workers should have a democratic voice in the workplace? Is there something weird or unclear? Is that like a hard concept to grasp? I don't know. Isn't Peppa like 9'2"? I don't know. I wish Dems were as left-wing as they're depicted. Communism was never a threat here. This is Cold War hype because they don't have a new playbook since the 60s. It seems so.
2 million copies sold. These books are
2 million copies. Holy yikes. Like, just to be clear, it's very hard to, like, trust a single word that's been given in this ad. But... yikes.
the best way to teach your child real-world topics not covered by most school curriculum.
Mom, I demand cookies. There's no more supply.
Oh.
What? Workers showed that they are happy with their freedoms by checks notes, doing what they're told.
So if you have offspring and don't want them supporting socialism, then click the link and order the title.
Ah, yes. If you don't... Wait. Can you give an example of how, like, explicitly, you know, the economic concept of socialism is being taught in schools? Political parties do make an effort at recruiting people from demographics they think will be successful. A major fault with our political system is that we make strong enough efforts to recruit candidates from working class, which has shown to be just as successful as professionals. True. Oh, don't make an effort. Okay, gotcha.
Twins books today.
Remember, folks, the right doesn't like kid pull, right? But also, let me put input into this ad. I can only hope that peoples are just reciting comments. Yeah, no, this is not happening. Yeah, that's not happening. This is like chick tracks from Rand Paul. Nice meme.
We got the story from Tim.
Nice meme. I mean, you literally can't make this up. I mean, I thought I was, you know, just looking at it from the surface, it looks like a parody, but it is not a parody. Those are real books. Apparently, young kids are able to understand the intricacies of economics, apparently. Because everything can just be broken down into supply and demand. Nice meme. Conservatives are just a parody of themselves, true. Anyways, nice meme. Dr. Oz enters the PA Senate race that will that is one of the determining factors of who will control the Senate. Please keep this in mind and never cede this tool to the right. If you can vote, please do so. Please don't disengage. If you want lies, watch evangelical TV and buy everything in ads. True. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. The FDA panel recommends agency to authorize Merck's... Is it Merck's? It's kind of a weird way. Merck's COVID-19 drug. The FDA advisory panel narrowly endorses Merck's oral COVID treatment pill despite reduced efficacy and safety questions. Well, I suspect more data will come out on this, but it seems like they did approve for emergency use the antiviral pill, which is a breakthrough in several countries and impressive technology, in my opinion. Given the fact that we're now faced with another variant, Omicron, this may be necessary. This may be necessary, especially with the hesitancy that we're seeing with a far more tested, free, widely available vaccine. This may be necessary. They don't care about kids. They don't want background checks and regulations for guns and prevent school shootings. They want them to get sick and spread COVID in school and stop teaching them history. Well, yeah, I mean, like, you could just break it down this way. They don't care about kids because, period. That they dropped that act. They dropped that act the moment they are vehemently trying to position themselves as pro-life. There's an entire line of education books with a severe right-leaning bias being used in private, primary, and middle school and high school. Yeah. As you can jumble the letters and it spells moronic. I mean, I didn't think about it that way, but yeah. Anyways, Omicron is just the Greek letter in the Greek alphabet. And yeah, so this may be necessary at this point. This antiviral pill may be necessary at this point. The only thing that this tells me is that this should push, it should encourage people to get vaccinated. Simple. It's free, readily available. That's the only thing that this tells me. Why wait until you actually need treatment when you can do things to prevent it? Right? Just a thought. Why do things that why wait until you're actually in the hospital? Hilariously, the Republicans are making making unemployment benefits easier to obtain in 4 states if they quit their jobs because of vaccine mandates. Right. How do you square that circle? I don't want people living off the government, but also I'm going to make it easier so that they qualified. Okie dokie. It doesn't have to make sense. It doesn't have to make sense. Yeah, it's rubbish. Political rubbish. I want to see if there's actual video of this.
I myself have reported hundreds of threats on my life, often triggered by Republican attacks on my faith. And this week, once again, we saw another increase. I'm going to play you a voicemail that we received hours after I got off the phone with Representative Boebert.
Not only that, keep in mind that these people who continuously make what would effectively be stochastic terrorism, they have been using language and rhetoric that has even led to death threats against their own party, against members of their own party, after Marjorie Taylor Greene tweeted out phone numbers of the 13 Republicans who voted for the infrastructure bill or something like that. They started getting death threats.
after she posted her video.
We see you Muslims, bitch. We know what you're up to. You're all about taking over the country. Don't worry, there's plenty that will love the opportunity to take you off the face of this fucking earth.
Yeah. And this isn't new. This isn't a one-of. This is constant for her.
Come get it, bitch, you fucking Muslim piece of shit, you jihadist. We know what you are.
And I wonder what would prompt somebody to act that way. Could it be maybe calling them the jihad squad? Could it be maybe that the language you continuously use, that the conspiracy theories you've propagated, could it be maybe that?
You're a fucking traitor. You will not live much longer, bitch. I can almost guarantee you that we the people are rising up, and you will be tried for a military tribunal, and you will be found guilty.
Nice, with a little sprinkle of QAnon too.
For those of you who did not hear it very well, let me read you what the voicemail says. We see you, sand N-word bitch. We know what you are up to. You are all about taking over our country. Don't worry, there is plenty that would love the opportunity to take you off the face of this effing earth. Come get it. But you are effing Muslim piece of shit. You are jihadist. We know what you are. You are effing traitor, and you will not live any longer. Condemning this should not be a partisan issue.
Correct. And again, this isn't like a one-of. This isn't a one-of. Okay? This is but one example. Ours, or I guess at that point, because it had been a day or two, of Boebert continuously using terms like, quote, jihad squad, and continuously to attack these folks in this manner. I'm proud of her for calling them out. The number of Michigan politicians who buckled under the threats and resigned is one of the largest failures I've ever witnessed. Yeah. But at the same time, I mean, quite frankly, it's scary. And I wouldn't blame anybody for wanting to peace out after hearing something like that. To be quite frank, Skiddeer. To be quite frank, I know that's the point of doing these things, is to intimidate, is to get that goal of maybe resigning, leaving. Maybe that's one of their goals. Maybe they're being that like that. Although it's hard to tell that people are this deranged that they actually mean that quite literally. But I also wouldn't blame anybody if they wanted to peace out after hearing something like that.
This is about our basic humanity and fundamental rights of religious freedom enshrined in our Constitution. Yet while some members of the Republican Party have condemned this, to date, the Republican Party leadership has done nothing to hold their members accountable.
Correct. And that's the
time
problem.
for the
To me, it should be an easy easy thing to get up there and say, hey, you know what? This isn't acceptable. Anybody who's acting in this way, or who has stoked into flames in this manner, or who is speaking in a way that is improper, in this way, should be booted. And of course, that's not something that would be difficult, in my opinion. But they don't. In fact, the GOP head, the GOP head of where Boebert was speaking at, I think it was now I'm gonna forget this. Was it Pueblo? In Colorado? Was it Pueblo? The head of the GOP there said that, you know what? She's just conveying how the American people feel. The leader of the GOP in the House, Kevin McCarthy, has said, hey, she said sorry, it's all good. Lauren Boebert said sorry on Twitter. It's all good.
Republican Party to actually do something, to confront anti-Muslim hatred in its ranks and hold those who perpetuate it accountable. I will close with this.
Really, none of this will be gone until Trump is out of politics. Nah, I think that this kind of blew the lid open for this to be kind of normalized, regardless of him being here or not, in my opinion. In my opinion. Maybe it'll be phased out eventually as people get, I don't know. I don't know how the public feels about this. But I think it's already been normalized to the point where sometimes it's what you need to do to get elected, right? You need to act like Boebert to get elected.
It was never an option for me to take off my hijab and run. And that should never be something that a Muslim woman or a girl in this country has to contemplate if she wants to enter public life. Because I know that when we proudly stand up for our values,
I don't know about that thinking saber
when
cat.
we celebrate the diversity of this country and the freedoms enshrined in our Constitution, others stand with us.
Blows my mind how people can't see Republicans in modern day. Yeah, like the thing is, I see and I call the Republican GOP elected officials that move in this direction. I'm just not quite convinced that every single like constituent is like this, right? But it is definitely scary that this is being okayed by Republican leadership, right? Essentially, it is being okayed because there's no strong condemnation between the leadership of the Republican Party up to and including endorsement of these actions by the head of the GOP where this speech happened. So no, this is not funny. These aren't jokes. And this is unacceptable. Depending on who you're speaking to, Tandara, I could give you an example. I believe Josh Hawley is a proto-fash or fash adjacent. This will continue until the majority of the public admonishes its behavior at this point, it will not happen until there's... I don't know, Silver Knight Dragon. However, I will agree with you that the level of apathy is concerning. Especially in the leadership where it matters to allow a member of your party to even act in this way. I mean... Jesus Christ. It's one thing if you don't like Representative Omar. Okay. It's one thing if you don't agree with her politics. Okay. Don't vote for her. Say which policies you don't like. But this is unbelievably unacceptable. This is far beyond, like, the line is here, and you just, like, flew 3,000 feet above it, across it. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. The elected leaders on the right, with the exception of a few true believers, are scared to death of their own base and are just feeding what they think they want to hear. Right, and I think that they're playing with something they can't control, and at this point, it's starting to become what the norm. I think that is true. I think that people like Kevin McCarthy are going to enable more of this if nothing gets done, right? There are people, politicians in particular, who are only kowtowing to this kind of base because it's they get elected. This kind of language, this kind of rhetoric is not okay. This rhetoric and language is not okay. And the Republican Party is allowing this way too close. The leadership, I mean the leadership is taking the softest of stances. This won't stop until the right calls out their own, and the few that have are being excommunicated. Right, they're called traitors or rhinos. They're primaried. They're bullied out of the party. Taken out of committees even. Liz Cheney, despite having a 92% voting record with Trump, was admonished and removed from the Arizona GOP for daring. Yeah, I don't feel comfortable with calling everybody Nazis or white supremacists unless I'm like 100% sure. Unless I know, right? So I use terms and I use rhetoric that is appropriate, right? I use rhetoric and terminology that is appropriate. Unless people being accused of they're displaying public evidence of such, like certain members of Congress have displayed it, but of course, that should go without saying. Here we go. Hold on, folks. Let me bring up an example.
Let's take a look at how it
Hello, CPAC. Past. It's over. It's Joe Biden's America now. I just want to say, we're not the past. We're the future. We represent the future of this country. We represent the next generation of this country. We represent what's coming next. And there is no way that we're going to back down. We're not going to back down to the woke mob. We're not going to back down to the cancel culture. We're not going to be told what we can say or do. But listen, we've got to be honest. And we got to face the challenges that are in front of us. And I tell you what, you know this or you wouldn't be here. You know that we are facing a crisis in our country. This is one of the great moments of crisis in American history. We're facing a fight for the republic itself, and we are facing an unprecedented alliance of radical liberals and the biggest, most powerful corporations in the history of the world. They are standing together. You know who I mean. People like Google, Facebook, if you heard of them, Twitter. These companies have more power than any companies in American history, and they're allying with the radical left to try to impose their agenda on this country. They want to run this country, and if we don't do something, they are going to. And we've got a word for that. It's called oligarchy. And that's what we're facing in America right now. And we've got a basic choice. We can have a republic where the people rule, or we can have an oligarchy where big tech and the liberals rule. And that is the choice. That is the challenge that we face today. It's a perilous moment. We have to stand up and take our stand on the Constitution of the United States and the Declaration of Independence. Because last time I checked, the Declaration of Independence said that our inalienable rights to life and liberty come from God and not from government. Is that right? I mean,
No, wrong. Wrong.
Am I forgetting something? And I also thought, last I checked, I thought that the Declaration said that our rights come from God, not from Google. Is that right?
Wrong.
I mean, last I checked. But that's the fight of our time, to make the rule of the people an actual thing again, to restore the sovereignty of the American people. You know what? That's always been the fight. That's the fight of liberty. That's been the fight of liberty since the beginning of human history. You've always got a small group of people who think they know best, and they ought to be in charge, and they ought to be able to tell us.
So, like, again, this is all starting about some type of, like, populist rhetoric, right? Okay.
Us what to think and do. And today, that's the big corporations and the liberal elites. That's the oligarchy. And what are we fighting for? It's the same thing our founding fathers fought for. We're fighting for the rule of the people. We're fighting to be able to have our own say. We're fighting to be able to run our own government. We're fighting to have real self-government in America. And that's what we're about. You know, you can see where the oligarchs want to take us. Just look at the last 2 months. The last 2 months, the big tech corporations have deplatformed conservatives left and right, shut them up, shut them out.
Wrong.
Shut them down. Heck, they censored the President of the United States. If they can censor him, they can censor any American citizen. And I've got my own experience with this, unfortunately. You know, on January the 6th, I objected during the Electoral College certification. Maybe you heard about it. I did. I stood up. I stood up.
I think this is a speech.
And I said,
I said,
we ought to have a debate about election integrity. I said it is the right of the people to be heard, and my constituents in Missouri want to be heard on this issue. And so I did what, by the way, our Democrat friends, my Democrat colleagues have done in every single election where a Republican president has won the last 20 years. Do you know they've objected to 11 different states in certifications over the last 25 years, 3 different presidential elections? So I did that.
So
I said,
in theory, if they believe they are somewhat jihadist, it would be okay to call them that. I don't get what that means. It's funny, this guy's a liberal by definition.
I was called a seditionist. The radical left said I should be resigned, and if I wouldn't resign, I should be expelled from the United States Senate. Well, as I said a moment ago, I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying right here. I'm going to stand up for you. Because if we can't have free and open debate in this country, we're not going to have a country left. If we can't have free and open debate according to the laws in the United States Senate, what good is the United States Senate? Why do you send anybody to Washington at all? I thought it was an important stand to take. And for that, the left has come after me. They tried to silence me. They canceled a book.
They didn't. Just so you know, they didn't. It's actually widely available on Amazon. You said you would only call someone like that if you knew it was true. If they think they know, would it be okay? I'm still not understanding. Like, I'm sorry, but if you're espousing like certain rhetoric of like, I don't know, religious fundamentalism, then yeah, that's what I'm gonna call you. Like, I would call you, like, if you're espousing like extremist views, then what am I supposed to say?
I was writing called The Tyranny of Big Tech. These people have no sense of irony. Still going to get published, by the way. It'll be out soon.
Right.
Not long to wait. They did all of that. It didn't work, but listen.
Remember, I'm being canceled but also on being published and put on like the biggest platform for books.
That's just a slice of what they've done. A lot of people have had it a lot worse. I mean, they made lists of Trump voters. You know this. You find online lists of Trump voters so they could go and try to punish them. One outfit in Washington is keeping a list of everybody who ever worked for Donald Trump, including White House interns, to try to make sure they can never get another job in Washington again. I was struck by this story about a gal named Cara DeMoplin. She's a lady with a business online. She does a consulting on how to get babies to sleep. Now listen, before you say, what do we care about that? I've got 3 little kids at home, including a newborn. My baby Abigail, my wife and I welcomed her on November the 9th, so she's just over 3 months old. Thank you. So we're really interested in sleep. I can tell you, the Hawley household, we care about sleep. My wife knew of this gal, Cara DeMoplin, who had an Instagram online thing where she counseled people on how to get their babies to sleep. It was great. She had like 4 million followers. What happened? She supported Donald Trump. So what did they do? They came after her. Tried to shut down her accounts, tried to run her out of business. I just heard this morning, that a Christian worship leader at a church in this country who has worship albums he put out, he just got a call this morning from his corporate distributor, and they told him they're not going to distribute his next album. What was his sin? He supported Donald Trump in the election. This is what corporate America and the radical left is doing. This is what they're doing left, right, and center. And they're going to keep on doing it unless we do something about it. Now, the real question is, how do we get here? How do we get to this point that these oligarchs, these massive corporations in hoc with the left, can do what they're doing? And you know the answer to that.
Tell me.
The answer is that the policy experts in Washington, D.C., and the elected officials there for decades on end have let them do it. They have given them the power. How did big tech get so big? Washington gave away the store. That's how they got so big. Washington subsidized Google and Facebook. Washington subsidized Twitter. And what are these companies, these other mega corporations, these multinational companies, what have they done to repay the favor? Oh, you know, they shipped our jobs to China. They paid our workers poverty wages. They violated all of the principles.
Wait. Okay.
That we hold dear. That's what they've done. That's what these companies, that's what they live to do. And the left is just fine with it. Because the left and these companies together, these oligarchs, they can impose their agenda on the rest of us. And that's exactly what they're trying to do. So what are we going to do about it? I mean, that's the real question, isn't it? In this moment of crisis, our country needs us to take a stand. In this moment of crisis, our country needs us to stand up and to say, we will not be ruled by giant corporations and the liberal elite. We will not be told what to do by these modern day oligarchs. What we need is a new nationalism, a new agenda to make the rule of the people real in this country.
And there's the mask. Did you all catch that? Did you all catch that? And there goes the mask. Let me bring that back for you.
Needs us to stand up and to say, we will not be ruled by giant corporations and the liberal elite. We will not be told what to do by these modern day oligarchs. What we need is a new nationalism, a new agenda to make the rule of the people real in this country and give the people America back. Give it back to them. Give it back to you. No more rule by oligarchs, rule by the people. That's what we've got to do. And I can tell you how I would start. I would start by breaking up the big tech corporations. Just break them up. Break them up in the name of the rule of the people. For the good of the American people and our liberty, we need to break those corporations up and cut them down to size. You know what? The Republican Party, once upon a time, we were the party of trustbusters. You know what? I mean, we invented the concept, basically. It's time to reclaim that legacy. It's time to reclaim that legacy. And not just for big tech, but for all of the huge multinational corporations that have sold us out to China, that have sold out our workers, that have sold out our jobs. They need to be broken up. And we need to have free, fair competition in this country again. That's what it means for the people to rule. We've got to stand up to China and not allow them to continue to push us over, to take our jobs, to cheat on trade. We've got to put American workers first, not illegal immigrants. Can I just say, by the way, on that subject, just on the subject of immigration, you know, we get told all the time, oh, if you believe in a border, if you think that borders actually matter, if you think that citizenship actually matters, well, my goodness, I mean, you're a bigot. You're backwards. Can I just try to enlighten our liberal friends for a second? We believe in borders because we believe in citizenship. And we believe in citizenship because we believe in America.
America's when citizenship. Yeah, so I think that obviously the populist kind of sprinkled rhetoric of populism is to lure you in. And then once you're like, yeah, we should break up these companies. Yeah, you know what? We should like do something about like the undue influence of corporations and stuff like that. Yeah, maybe we should make things. We should address like income inequality. Maybe we should address the fact that some of these corporations have a large influence in our government. But have you considered that we need a new wave of nationalism? Have we considered immigration? Like, do you see how that works? Do you see how that works? Hey, G and SV, how's it going?
Citizenship. You know, where I come from in Missouri, I grew up in rural Missouri, small town right in the middle of Missouri. It's a working class town full of good folks working hard to make it every day. And I can just tell you, where I grew up, we believe in citizenship because we're proud of it. We're proud to be Americans. And when you come to America, you join a family. And in this family, we stick up for one another. We protect one another. We believe in one another. That's what citizenship means. That's why it's worth protecting. That's why we need a border. Do you agree? I mean, that's what it is.
I discovered the 8th immortal king.
And we've got to resist the attempts of the oligarchs to divide us. You know, they will only succeed at the end of the day. They will only succeed if we do nothing and if we allow ourselves to be divided. You can see what their strategy is. I mean, we saw it this whole last year. We heard endlessly from corporate media, from big tech, from the left, how terrible our country is. We heard that we are systemically racist. You heard that once or twice? We heard that the real founding of the country wasn't in 1776, it was in 1619 or whatever. You know, we heard that America is founded in lies and evil. I mean, that's what we've been told. All of that is false. All of that is a lie. America is not a perfect place, but it's a good place. More than that, it's a great place. It's the greatest nation in the history of the world.
Yeah.
And part of standing up to the oligarchs in tech and in the media and the liberals is reclaiming our history and saying it is good, and we are proud to be Americans. We're proud to have lived in a country that started with nothing and became the greatest country on the face of the earth.
We didn't start with nothing.
Proud to live in a country that liberated slaves, that liberated a continent that was under the thumb of Nazi dictatorship, that rebuilt the entire world after a world war. We did all of that. This nation did all of that. And are we perfect? Of course we're not perfect. It's like your pastor says at church. Have you heard this? He said, have you ever been to a perfect church? The answer, I mean, I haven't ever been. Maybe you have. The answer is no, of course not. Why? Because it's full of people. You know, every church is full of people. America's full of people, but it's full of good people. It's full of good people who continue to seek the light and continue to strive towards that more perfect union. And my friends, it's up to us to stand up and to remind our fellow Americans of what we believe together.
Yeah. I think we get the gist, right? I think we get the gist. All these euphemisms or dog whistles, I guess you could say, about the necessity for a new wave of nationalism. Yeah, that all of the way he's weaving this speech together should ring alarm bells, because at the beginning it sounds reasonable, right? I mean, obviously, things like dealing with undue influence of corporations and all that stuff does sound like something that we need to address. Except can anybody and just point this out to me, chat, if you can. Can anybody look up the last time Senator Josh Hawley proposed legislation to actually deal with any of the issues that he's talking about when it comes to legitimately addressing income inequality, legitimately addressing the undue influence of corporations? Can somebody point that out to me? Can somebody point out a bill? A committee proposal? Something? Methinks he doesn't actually believe in that. It's all a good, perfect way to get people in, because it's popular. It's populist talk. It's populist talk. But then he flips the switch. It's all about immigration and nationalism. Under the guise of protecting the country from an existential crisis. That, my friends, is proto-fash, if not fash adjacent, if not outright fash rhetoric. That's how that works. The country is in an existential crisis. It's all about the nation. It's all about nationalism. It's all about strength. It's all about us. Against the other. Yeah. When you listen to enough of this rhetoric, you start to pick it up. He's saying we should solve the working class problems with fascism, with nationalism. Yes, a new wave of nationalism. But the problem, Tendara, is that he's not interested in solving the working class problems. He's using it as a vehicle. He doesn't actually care. I don't believe he actually cares. Hey Heat, how's it going? Yes, we are day 1 on our war on Christmas. Today's the first day. I'm fairly certain his party isn't going to be on board with breaking up corporations. No, they're not. Sadly, I googled Josh Hawley legislation to break up big companies. I'm looking into the proposal, but there is something. Well, let's take a look. There should be more than just on his senator page, and I don't see it. Just his site and remaining more skeptical than before. Yeah, if it's just on his website, I mean, there is a bill, there is a proposal. I just don't know if he actually introduced it. Today, in April, trust busting for the 21st century. He proposed a bill, but the only thing that I can see is from his website. You just have to look at Spain to see what will happen as late stage empire when they flood the market with too much silver. Yep. What do we want? To break up the corporation. That we want to do by lowering corporate gains tax to 0%. There's not a number associated with this bill. It's 7 pages. Okay. Can you send that to me via Whispers? We've got this. Is this something that we can find? A bill to promote competition in digital markets and other purposes. Yeah, okay. What bill is this? What SB bill is this? No, I need a bill on the board. Not just this. I don't know what this is. Yeah, I've heard of the Constitution Party. It's not a bill yet, it's shorter than the Green New Deal and more vague. Such a violation shall quote a disgorgement of all profits earned by the defendant. Clayton Act amendments. Yeah, I saw this is on his website. It's not a bill yet. It's shorter than the Green New Deal and vague, but what you're looking at is all I could dig up. So just like you said, he's got nothing real. Yeah, like I don't know like what this means. This isn't like an SB1 or SB5 or SB something. I really don't know what this is. This looks like a proposal. Yeah, see, it has the S dot because it's supposed to be a bill, right? An S something, right? SB12, SB5, I don't know. But to my knowledge, I can't find anything here. All it is like what effectively would be virtue signaling unless I can find something else. So yeah, I just... Yeah, this is a proposal. This is a blank proposal. He, like, got it and said, this is what I'm going to do. Because look, there's not even a date here. Mr. Hawley introduced the following bill, which was read twice and referred to the committee on... Where? When? The bottom shows the proposed penalty, a civil action only as well. By notice in the comment period in accordance, blah 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 blah. Yeah, I'm gonna need something more than this. There's only civil action only. It's disturbingly similar to the Texas abortion bill. In terms of individual suing. So this is very much not breaking up anything. Yeah, I don't think he's actually in favor of breaking up anything. Because it's to his advantage. I mean, can you imagine if he loses the ability to propagate his book through Amazon? It looks like something thrown together to make it look like he's doing something. Yeah, the problem is I need a bill. I need an actual proposal of something on record other than this like blank slate, right? Because clearly he's meant to put the date and what S bill this is going to be. Spread it forward, how's it going? By the way, GNSV, how's it going? Howdy, welcome. I'm gonna need a lot more than this. It's so bothersome that they just get away with this kind of stuff. Yeah, true. Anyways, this isn't trust busting by any means necessary, by any stretch of the imagination. And furthermore, there's no like actual legitimate proposed bill on record as far as I can tell. This is just a PDF from his website, right? Anyways, the TLDR is the TLDR is the reason why I can call Josh Hawley that. Is because of his rhetoric and because of the language he uses. And because I've listened to enough of this to kind of get what he's saying. I truly believe that he is a far-right proto-fash adjacent, if not outright fash. Quickly catch me up. Josh Hawley, bad. There we go. Holy yikes, Tandara. My sister survived a school shooting yesterday morning. After I got my booster, I realized she was talking about the shooting threats and weird things for a week prior, so it was all preventable. Oh my god. She ran to the woods. 11 kids were shot, 3 didn't make it, and some are on ventilators. What? Oh, shoot. Was this the incident that just happened yesterday? Oh my god. I am so sorry to hear that. What? Your sister? Oh man. That is... Jesus Christ. Yikes. Yikes. Yeah, it was Oxford, Michigan. I went to that school too. Wow. What do we name thus modern day fashion movements? It's really hard to like just like, I would say like anywhere from like proto-fash, because it's a little bit different, but like you can kind of get the feeling when someone starts talking about like nationalistic movements, might makes right kind of rhetoric, the comfortness of corporate and government power, while also using doublethink to say that using doublethink with populist rhetoric to reel people in. Usually the cherry on top is the other eyes to split that other. In this case, it's become illegal immigrants are usually the others, depending on who's making the speech, right? Because they're really big on the southern border. And the other cherry on top, that the dog, I don't want to call it dog whistle, but like the euphemisms or language or rhetoric usually also involves a existential crisis about that the country's going through, right? Existential crisis. Jump Ash, but without the Trump. Oh man. Yeah, that is scary, Darknet. Apparently a lot of kids knew it was coming too. What? And they did nothing? And they did nothing? And they did nothing? Jesus Christ. That is deeply disturbing. How did they know it was coming, and why didn't anybody do anything? Who? What? Was this the failure of the school administration? Jesus Christ. Oof. And nobody did anything? My goodness. She mentioned other incidents, like there was a weird bloody deer head in the courtyard with graffiti, and that some kids stayed home from school 2 weeks ago because of another threat. Holy yikes, Tandera. Jesus Christ. My goodness. How did the school administration fail here? Yeah, exactly, Kinetic Pause. Something along the lines of like proto-fash, authoritarian, nativist, things like that, would probably be somewhere around the long lines, proto-fash or neo-fash, if not, or fash adjacent, is what I would use. I don't know why the school is patting themselves on the back on the news. Well, yeah, because it's if it's discovered that they did nothing, especially knowing that there are prior incidents to this, that's going to be a PR nightmare. So they're trying to get ahead of it. That is unbelievable to me, Tandara. That is disgusting. What? Knowing the Michigan schools, if a student probably doesn't have an IEP, so was never assigned to a social worker, and after the school called the police, they were all out of ideas and responsibilities. Yeah, but that's not okay. I mean, that's not good enough. Is it because of lack of resources or what? That's not good enough for me. That is not good enough. It's not, but it's entirely how school functions now. Holy yikes. That's unbelievable to me. That is beyond belief. And like, you know, I haven't been involved with the public school system, obviously, for decades at this point. But that is unacceptable. Unacceptable. I'm going to be anecdote Andy, but when I went to high school, there was one incident of a possible bullet in the high school, and the entire thing was shut down until everything was clarified, cleared, and safe. The idea, the joke, the notion, the possibility of a threat shut the entire school down. There was no nonsense about that. The possibility of maybe, kind of, floating the idea, notion of threat, shut our high school down immediately, like until everything was like cleared up. This is just unacceptable and pathetic. It looks like now they're talking about metal detectors instead of asking why they didn't do anything sooner. Yeah, okay, cool, nice meme. They're completely reliant on the police if they're not given funding approvals through a diagnosed and prescribed IEP. That's just unbelievable to me. That's just unbelievable to me. Yeah, that's just unbelievable. The police will do next to nothing without action being taken because they don't prevent crime. Right, they respond too. My 6th grade teacher died of a heart attack and she was effed. There was no counseling offered. That's messed up. It seems to me like violence has been so normalized in children's lives that even school shooting threats aren't enough to lock down a school anymore. Yeah, that wasn't like a thing. Again, this was decades ago. Jesus Christ. I had a pipe bomb brought to my middle school during our tenure. No threat. Just found it after it happened because the dude's friend went to a teacher or something. Jesus. It did seem like, yeah, they're restricting and punishing the students when it should start at the top with legislation. I agree. I think that definitely there was multiple failures at the top. The kids, why would you like make them feel, oh yeah, I know how we're going to take care of the situation. We're going to make them feel like they're even worse prison. Like what? Like they're going through TSA every day. Like they're going through like a prison routine every day. Yeah, that'll fix it. What? That is unbelievable to me. I can see the GQP's national campaign about arming students in school. Yeah, that's, whew. The shooter got the semi-auto handgun from his dad when he bought it on Black Friday. Yeah, usually a lot of these school shootings happen because there's a irresponsible adult who left a firearm accessible And that's how that happened. That is unacceptable. And when they won't pay more than minimum wage for extra security, they will scrap the barrel on who's patting down kids. Yeah, like, but even then, like, why? Why? Yeah, that's why many public schools are today training your prison career. Jesus Christ. Nothing more welcoming and comfortable than a morning pat down or just having to go through checkpoints, right? Like as if you're on TSA every day as a kid. Wow, that is just horrible, Thandera. I'm sorry. What a great parent, true. Adult, irresponsible, in a culture that romanticizes firearms. Yeah, I do think that there's toxicity in the gun culture. Yep, 100%. Unbelievable. In another school I went to, it was alternative, and we had metal detectors like we were in jail, but not for guns, for our phones. What? Spread it forward. Unfortunately, there are countless of chain of events, countless of times where this chain of events has happened here. Countless of stories where chain of events are exactly as you described there. Unbelievable. Yeah, that's right, Skiddadeer. Part of it's how school funding is acquired, though. Millage rates only give X amount per student. Schools have been so capitalized to do as little as possible. They're literally being treated more of a child care center than a place of education. Yeah, yeah, mostly in America too, where we have more guns than humans. Yeah, that is true. And we got a lot of humans, true. Humans. What a tragedy. And the more more homes. Yeah. More homes than homeless. I'm sure that Twitter is going to be flooded with all kinds of thoughts and prayers. Without any action. You're exhaling too much. If you keep it up, you'll become oxygen deficient. Unfortunately, there's a lot to sigh about. Jesus. It's more of an exasperated exhale than anything. Unbelievable. I'm sorry to hear that, Thandera. That's just shocking. Maybe that's why righties can't breathe in mass. They're always gasping at fake outrage. Yeah, that's it. Being involved in politics makes you do this. Being involved in politics is a direct correlation to oxygen deficiency. Alright folks, we've got one more article And then we continue our journey with the climate migration journal that was given to us by James Napper, and how this affects migration. Not only we spoke about the last article. I think it's a 3-part series of how migration, of how patterns will be affected due to climate change. This one is affecting. This one is basically illustrating what will happen within the U.S. But first, let's just go over this one really quickly. Mike Pence asked Supreme Court to overturn abortion rights. Mr. Pence said the ruling was a misguided decision that harmed millions of unborn babies. Will somebody think of the unborn babies? Please, think of the children. If Roe v. Wade is squashed, millions of women would lose access to abortions. On Wednesday, the Supreme Court will hear arguments over a Mississippi law banning abortion after 15 weeks. A ruling is expected by next summer. The Mississippi ban includes abortions of pregnancies caused... What? So there's no exception for rape or incest. The law has not been enforced because of a legal challenge from the state's only abortion provider. A state's only single abortion provider. But yeah, pro-life, everybody. At a news conference... Well, actually, yeah, you know, the problem I think that we're having here is that we assume that the right considers women people. Clearly they don't. A news conference in Washington, D.C., Mr. Pence said he hoped the Supreme Court will make history with a full reversal of Roe v. Wade. Well, your administration certainly made it a little bit more possible, a little bit more probable. So, thanks, Pence. The 1973 ruling gave women in the U.S. an absolute right to an abortion in the first 3 months of pregnancy and limited rights in the second 3 months. We're asking the Supreme Court of the U.S. to overturn Roe v. Wade and restore the sanctity of human life to the center of American law. Right. Again, this is on the assumption, because we consider women people. They don't. They don't care. They actually really deep down don't care about the sanctity of human life. That is a complete lie. They do not care about the sanctity of human life whatsoever. Mr. Pence also argued that the fiat of unelected judges is not reflective of popular opinion in the U.S. Well, I'll have you know, Mr. Pence, that the majority of the U.S. population, Americans, actually are perfectly fine with the way it is. He believes elected state officials are better placed to write abortion laws for their own jurisdictions. Wrong. A nationwide ban on abortion is not on the horizon, but a ruling in Mississippi's favor could mean that U.S. states would be able to develop their own abortion laws. Experts say that the abortions would soon become illegal in more than 20 other states. 12 states have passed so-called trigger laws which would automatically ban abortion if Roe was overruled. Others have either passed unconstitutional abortion bans in the years since Roe v. Wade, which would be revived, or retained abortion restrictions from before Roe v. Wade, before Roe, which are currently unenforceable. Yeah, so this is, do not be mistaken, the moment Roe versus Wade is overturned, or given leeway, all of these Republican-controlled states, Republican-controlled legislatures, will be making either, 1, abortion straight up illegal, 2, if it's not outright overturned, if they're given leeway, they will make it so hard to get an abortion that it might as well be. You know, they're not going to ban all abortions, just 90% of them. Yeah, I have no idea, spread it forward. I have no idea of the situation, to be quite frank. Tied to fully funded childcare, food security, and housing security, which watch what happens to that decision. They're all policies which promote the sanctity of life. Right. When you start talking about healthcare, when you start talking about food security, housing, you know, food, education, healthcare, housing, things like that are crucial to the quote sanctity of life, we hear crickets because they actually don't care. They actually don't care about that. So this week we find out whether we have reproductive rights. Good question. I don't know how quickly they're gonna rule on this. They said next summer for this particular one, but there's also another Texas case. Such a move would be devastating for low-income women. Catherine Frank, director of Center for Gender and Sexuality Law at Columbia University, told BBC this would increase maternal mortality and poverty. True. Pew Research survey from May 2021 found that 6 in 10 Americans believe that abortion should be legal in almost all circumstances. The same survey found that 4 in 10 Americans believe it should be illegal in all cases. So the minority. Yeah, nope, sorry, Mr. Pence. With all due respect, get fucked. A Virginia law that allowed for the sexual sterilization of inmates of institutions to promote the health of the patient. Yeah, I could totally see that, Kal-El, the cognitive dissonance. The way they try to villainize bad parents, I can't imagine is far from their thoughts. Yeah. Alright, folks, we're here. I don't know how quickly we'll be able to get through some of this, but we'll do a few minutes of this. Yeah, no, they don't care about the sanctity of life, whatever. That's just a virtue signal to them, to their base. Pro-life is a misnomer. There's nothing pro-life about their arguments. At least 30 states, including Louisiana, Massachusetts, North Carolina, Texas, have adopted the so-called FAIR plans, and today they serve as a market backstop in the places facing the biggest risk of climate-driven disasters, including coastal flooding, hurricanes, and wildfires. In an era of climate change, though, such policies amount to sort of a shell game, meant to keep growth going even when other obvious signs and scientific research suggest that it should stop. Nothing is above the almighty dollar, folks, okay? Nothing is above the almighty dollar. Yeah, that's right. They don't give a flying fuck. It's all about ownership. Yep. This is what happened in Florida. Hurricane Andrew reduced parts of its city to landfill and cost insurers nearly $16 billion in payouts. Many insurance companies, recognizing the likelihood that it would happen again, declined to renew policies and left the state. So the Florida legislature created a state-run company to insure properties itself, preventing both an exodus and an economic collapse by essentially pretending that the climate vulnerabilities didn't exist. Exactly. Which is kind of like what I was trying to argue with my parents about, you know? It's like, well, why are all these, developments continue to rise to get built? Well, nothing stops the almighty dollar. Nothing is above the almighty dollar. As a result, Florida taxpayers by 2012 has assumed liabilities worth $511 billion. Us, we the people. More than 7 times the state's total budget, as the value of coastal property topped $2.8 trillion. Again, nothing is above the almighty dollar. Another direct hurricane risked bankrupting the state. Florida, concerned that it had taken on too much risk, has since scaled back its self-insurance plan, but the development that resulted is still in place. On a sweltering afternoon last October, with skies above me full of wildfire smoke, I called Jesse Keenan, an urban planning and climate change specialist, then at Harvard's Graduate School of Design, who advises the Federal Commodity Futures Trading Commission on how market hazards from climate change. On market hazards from climate change. Keenan, who is now an associate professor of real estate at Tulane University School of Architecture, had been in the news for last year for projecting where people might move, suggesting that Duluth, Minnesota, for instance, should brace for coming real estate boom as climate migrants move north. But like other scientists I've spoken with, Keenan has been reluctant to draw conclusions about where these migrants would be driven from. Last fall, as a previous round of fires ravaged California, his phone began to ring with private equity investors and bankers all looking for his read on the state's future. Right? Their interests suggest a growing investor-grade scale of nervousness about swiftly mounting environmental risk in the hottest real estate markets in the country. It's an early sign, he told me, that the momentum is about to switch directions, and once it's flipped, it's likely to flip very quickly. Here's a very, very good photograph of the of what the norm could look like. Hold on, folks. Let me get myself situated. All right. The hottest markets, true. If you're pro-life, you should also support transitioning away from fossil fuels and industrialized food supply and the support of climate refugees. Yeah, but they're not. It's all a misnomer. Nothing pro-life about their arguments. In fact, the correction, a newfound respect for the destructive power of nature, coupled with a sudden disavowal of Americans' appetite for reckless development, had begun 2 years earlier, when a frightening surge in disasters offered a jolting preview of how the climate crisis was changing the rules. In October 9 of 2017, a wildfire blazed through the suburban blue-collar neighborhood of Coffee Park in Santa Rosa, California. Virtually in my own backyard, I awoke to learn that more than 1,800 buildings were reduced to ashes less than 35 miles where I slept. Inch-long cinders had piled on my windowsills like falling snow. The Tubbs Fire, as it was called, shouldn't have been possible. Coffee Park is surrounded not by vegetation but by concrete and malls and freeways, so insurers had rated it basically zero risk. Ha, nice meme. According to Kevin Van Leer, then a risk modeler for global insurance liability firm Risk Management Solutions. He now does similar work for Cape Analytics, but Van Leer, who has spent 7 years picking through the debris left by disasters to understand how insurers could anticipate and price the risk of their happening again, had begun to see other impossible fires. After a 2016 fire tornado ripped through northern Canada and a firestorm consumed Gatlinburg, Tennessee, he said alarm bells are starting to go off for the insurance industry. Yeah, no kidding. What Van Leer saw when he walked through Coffee Park a week after the Tubbs Fire changed the way he would model and project fire risk forever. Typically, fire would be spread along the ground, burning maybe 50% of structures. In Santa Rosa, more than 90% had been leveled. The destruction was complete, he told me. Van Leer determined that the fire had jumped through the forest canopy, spawning 70 miles an hour winds that kicked off a storm of embers into the modest homes of Coffee Park, which burned at an acre a second. Holy yikes, as homes ignited spontaneously from the radiant heat. It was the kind of thing that might have never been possible if California's autumn winds weren't getting fiercer and drier every year, colliding with the intensifying climate-driven heat and ever-expanding development. It's hard to forecast something you've never seen before. Yeah, I would suspect that a lot of people kind of, I don't know. After decades of knowing where, like, climate change could take us, okay. For me, the awakening to imminent climate risk came with California's rolling power blackouts last fall, in an effort to preemptively avoid risk of a live wire sparking a fire, which showed me that all my notional perspectives about climate risk and my own life choices were on a collision course. After the first one, all the food in our refrigerator was lost. When the power was interrupted 6 more times in 3 weeks, we stopped trying to keep it all stocked. All around us, small fires burned, thick smoke produced fits of coughing. Yeah. Then, as now, I packed an axe and a go bag in my car ready to evacuate. As former Governor Jerry Brown said, it was the beginning to feel like the new abnormal. No, that is the new normal. That is the new normal, right? It's not new abnormal, it is the new normal. And you can also blame the privatization of the energy grid from PG&E for failing to properly prepare for this, leaving infrastructure crippled, debilitated, I guess that would be the word, unattended for years and years at a time, despite knowing that at any point their crappy maintenance would cause something like this, and it did. It was no surprise then that California property insurers, having watched 26 years worth of profits dissolve over 24 months, began dropping policies, or that California's insurance commissioner tried to slow the slide, placed a moratorium on insurance cancellations for parts of the state in 2020. In February, the legislature introduced a bill compelling California in the words of one consumer advocacy group, follows the lead of Florida by mandating that insurance be available. In this case, was a requirement that homeowners first harden their properties against fire. At the same time, participation in California's FAIR Plan for catastrophic fires has grown by at least 180% since 2015, and in Santa Rosa, houses are being rebuilt in the very same wildfire vulnerable zones that proved so deadly in 2017. Given that a new study projects 20% increase in extreme fire weather by 2035, such practice suggests a special form of climate negligence. It is negligent, but like I said, nothing stops the almighty dollar, okay? Nothing. Nothing is above that. Nothing is above that. That being said, folks, unfortunately, I do have to get going. I do appreciate everybody hanging out here. Thank you so much. Thank you, Darknet. Thank you, Spread It Forward. If you guys enjoy the content, don't forget to hit that follow button. It really does help us out. And you get 5 free emotes. Join the Discord. Join the Discord. !Discord. Hey, stop it. Join the Discord. Go on our YouTube channel really quickly. It takes 5 seconds. Go on our YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button, the likes, the comments, the shares, and all that awesome stuff. Spread the word far and wide that this is the chillest place to be for news and politics, 9 a.m. Monday through Thursday. And join us Saturday, noon Eastern time. Kitty cats guaranteed. Promise. Thank you, Skitter Deer. Appreciate you coming. Appreciate you stopping by. Appreciate you having you here. You have a good day, Willy Bonka. As always, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. As always, I love you all, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. See ya. Please stay safe out there, folks. Jesus, that was rough. Please stay safe, Tendera. Alright, folks. Alright, folks, let's just go to Hi Dan Simpson. Continuing those vibes, yeah? Alright, folks, we're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. See ya.